You said, quote, "There's a reason why the conservative-dominated Supreme Court thinks the Constitution does not contain a right to an abortion, but is convinced that it contains an individual right to possess firearms. And that reason is white male supremacy," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
Is there a question in this?
Did I read that correctly? That's
Is there
my
a question that is relevant to this hearing?
Did I read that correctly? Do you really think that the United States Supreme Court, you're an officer of the court, is guided by white male supremacy?
I believe that the First Amendment prohibits the president
and
other state officials for punishing people for
Did you honestly say that, Professor? And you expect us,
that the First Amendment,
as a Democratic witness, to take you seriously? Are you kidding me?
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Hot News Today. I just finished watching Senator John Kennedy absolutely grill Professor Marian Franks during that Senate hearing. And wow, it was something else. This wasn't just another slow day in Congress. This was Kennedy doing what he does best, cutting straight through political spin and exposing hypocrisy, hiding behind academic objectivity. Because let's be honest, when a legal scholar calls the Constitution a homicide pact and claims the Supreme Court promotes white male supremacy, that's not legal expertise, that's political activism in disguise. And Senator Kennedy? He wasn't buying it for a second. I'm going to break down what went down, what Kennedy exposed, and why this moment says a lot about how far bias has crept into our institutions. But first, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss more unfiltered breakdowns like this one. All right, let's roll the clip.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for having to miss the testimony of some of you, and I appreciate you coming today. Professor Franks, let me ask you, I listened to your and Ms. Hemingway's testimony and Professor Turley, so I got part of it. As I understand it, your position, Professor Franks, is that, I think you used the word myth. It is a myth that the Biden administration used government to compel speech, private speech, but that the Trump administration is doing that. Is that a fair characterization?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Do you think perhaps you're allowing your personal political beliefs to affect your objectivity here?
No, I do not. What is guiding my answers here is that I'm looking to see what the Supreme Court has said. You notice that in the testimony about the censorship industrial complex.
I got that part.
No, I just
want
to clarify.
No, but I've only got 5 minutes. Your answer is no, I appreciate it. Let me ask you a couple questions. You wrote a law review article in December of 2023 for the New York University Law Review, and it was about the two cases, Bruin, Supreme Court case, and Dobbs. Remember that article?
Yes, I do.
Okay. In this article, you said, I'm going to quote your words, "Taken together, these two cases demonstrate that the Supreme Court has embraced the use of the Constitution as a tool of racial patriarchy," end quote. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went on to say, quote, "When the Supreme Court declares that there is a constitutional right to armed self-defense in public, it openly embraces and promotes a culture that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill those that they perceive as threats," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I believe so. Thank you for reading.
Okay. And did you also say in that article, I'm going to quote again, quote, "by simultaneously expanding white men's right to kill and constricting women's right not to die, this Supreme Court," referring to the current United States Supreme Court, "has turned the Constitution into a homicide pact as well," close quote. Did you write that?
That sounds like me.
Okay. In November of 2024, you tweet, don't you?
I'm not sure what the current terminology is for it, but yes, I am sometimes on the social platform that was formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, you're on a lot, aren't you?
I'm not sure what the relevance of that is.
You're trying to be provocative on there, don't you?
Again, I'm not sure what the relevance
Well,
of this question
let me
is.
show you the relevance. On November 7th, 2024, from your tweet, here's one of your tweets at 2:41 p.m. Quote, "The majority of Americans hate women. The majority of Americans hate women more than they love anything, including democracy." Close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I am not sure what this has to do with the subject matter of this
Did you
hearing.
say it?
I do not have those words in front of me. I probably said something along those lines, but
Yeah,
what is
you
the
said it.
relevance of
Here
that
it
to
is,
this
big as
hearing?
Dallas, right there.
Yes.
But your political beliefs don't impact your feelings about President Biden or President Trump.
I don't have feelings about either of them. What I have
Sounds
is
to me
doctrine.
like your favorite feeling is anger. Let me ask you this. You issued another tweet. This was in May of 2022. You've just been tweeting up a storm. You said, quote, "There's a reason why the conservative-dominated Supreme Court thinks the Constitution does not contain a right to an abortion, but is convinced that it contains an individual right to possess firearms. And that reason is white male supremacy," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
Is there a question in this?
Did I read that correctly? That's
Is there
my
a question
question.
that is relevant to this hearing?
Did I
And
read that
more
correctly? Do you really think that the United States Supreme Court, you're an officer of the court, is guided by white male supremacy?
I believe that the First Amendment prohibits the president
Did you
and other
say
state
that?
officials for punishing people for
Did
their
you honestly say that, Professor?
I
And you
believe
expect us,
that the First
as a
Amendment,
Democratic witness, to take you seriously? Are you kidding me?
I believe that you should take
You
the First
heard of
Amendment
curb your
seriously, sir.
enthusiasm? Here's my saying, curb my nausea.
All right, that was something else. What you just saw wasn't a heated argument. It was Senator John Kennedy calmly tearing down a wall of political bias brick by brick. He starts respectfully, giving Professor Franks every chance to explain herself. But when she insists it's a myth that the Biden administration ever pressured social media or private speech, you can tell Kennedy's patience is wearing thin. He knows that doesn't line up with reality. Then, he hits her with her own words, directly from her 2023 NYU Law Review article, where she claims the Supreme Court has embraced racial patriarchy. She even wrote that recognizing a right to armed self-defense somehow lets white men terrorize others. Kennedy doesn't twist her words. He just reads them out loud and lets the absurdity speak for itself. That's the Kennedy way. Sharp, calm, and unshakable. Then he moves to her Twitter feed, and this is where the mask really slips. Kennedy reads her tweet. "The majority of Americans hate women more than they love democracy." Think about that. This is someone Democrats brought in as an expert witness to talk about objectivity and fairness. And when Kennedy asks how statements like that don't show bias, she can't give a straight answer. It's like she wants to be taken seriously in the courtroom and on social media at the same time, and Kennedy isn't having it. By the time he drops that signature line, "You've heard of curb your enthusiasm? Well, curb my nausea. It's not just humor. It's a gut-level reaction to how far some academics have drifted from reason and respect for the Constitution." Here's the takeaway. Kennedy didn't just win a debate. He showed the country what it looks like when truth stands up to ideology. He reminded everyone that if we let bias replace logic in law and politics, we lose the foundation of justice itself. So hats off to Senator Kennedy, not for being loud, but for being fearless. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Kennedy was right to call out that bias so directly? And don't forget, hit like, subscribe, and share this video if you want more breakdowns like this, right here on Hot News Today. See you in the next one.